The last time I modded a Wii, I hated working on it so much that I vowed I would never mod a Wii again. Fast forward a few months later, and now I'm a liar because High-Speed Ito made another HDMI mod for the Wii. So today, we're gonna install that, throw away the proprietary power supply to swap it for a USB-C for power, and do some software magic to make the ultimate Wii. But as good as all that sounds, stick around to the end of the video to find out if it's actually worth it. Let's dive straight into tearing it down. This was half the reason I never wanted to do this again. There are 8 different types of screws across 52 total screws that we have to remove before we can even start to solder anything. And while this mod can be done to most Wii revisions, the steps may be slightly different from what I did for your revision. You first need to solder this ribbon cable to this chip here. Then you can solder this board to the old AV port pins and the HDMI board to the USB pins. Thankfully with this one, we don't have to solder the boards to any ribbon cables. We just need to connect them with a few connectors, but we do still need to solder one wire from here to all the way over here. From there, you'll need to trim the plastic here and here for the mini HDMI port, as well as remove these metal tabs off of the shielding. And if you don't care about replacing the power plug for a USB-C port, then you can close it all up and be done. Otherwise, this mod is by Giltessa. Giltessa makes a lot of USB-C mods, and I recently bought a bunch of them. Over on my second channel, Jake64, I started a new series where I'm USB-C'ing all of my electronics that have proprietary plugs. So far, I've done the 2DS, the Wii U gamepad, and a few others. If that interests you, I highly recommend subscribing over there. But back to this video. You'll have to desolder the 2 small pins for the power plug before we can install this mod. The USB-C mod for the Wii is also the same one for the Wii U, but is pre-configured for the Wii. So all we need to do here is solder the pins in like this, and solder the other end into the board like this. Just don't be like me and leave the 3D printed spacer off when soldering it into the board. Also don't be like me and forget to trim all of the pins once we're done soldering. Otherwise, the power pins are going to short and you could ruin everything. I got lucky, but that's really it. We can close it all up and definitely not leave some pieces out because there's just too much going on inside the freaking compact Wii. Okay, now let's plug it in. You will need a USB-C cable and power brick that can supply at least 12 volts at 3.5 amps. I'll link the ones I use down below. Then you can use any old HDMI cable with the included mini adapter and you're off to the races. Now we can do the software mods. Well, honestly, I'm gonna skip over how to do that because I find software mods to be a long and boring process, and they're always updating how to do it, so I'll just let you look it up on your own. Anyway, now I have USB Loader GX and a flash drive loaded with a handful of my legally backed up games. I went through and changed a few Wii and USB Loader settings to try to make the image even cleaner than the few options that the High-Speed Ito mod gives me. But generally, as long as you have your Wii set to progressive scan and the original Wii settings, you can leave the HDMI mod settings like this for the best picture across all games. You can only access this menu with a GameCube controller, but it's not too annoying because you can just set it and forget it. So how does this stack up against the last Wii HDMI mod I did? It's about the same, maybe a little cleaner because of the USB loader settings I messed around with, but it's nothing crazy. Even comparing it to the $6 adapters you can find everywhere, I don't think it's worth the time, money, or hassle. I do think it looks the best other than using component cables in the RetroTink 5X Pro though. In comparing it to High-Speed Ito's GameCube HDMI mod, it's definitely better because we can force progressive scan on all the GameCube games on the Wii. The TLDR is I feel like this HDMI mod is good enough for me to recommend, but I feel like the convenience of the cheap adapters may be more valuable. It's really up to you. For me, all the mods were worth it because I can easily plug this Wii into my TV with the HDMI and USB-C cables that are already set up and easily store it when I'm done without having to store a bunch of proprietary cables with it. Heck, even my sensor bar is wireless. I just wish I didn't have to tear it down to the studs to install any of it. But what do you guys think? Is this the ultimate Wii? Let me know why or why not in those comments down below. Do you wish I walked you through more of the installation process or showed you more gameplay footage? Boy, do I have the second channel video for you linked in the description, along with all the links for everything I talked about today. And no, I will not be selling pre-modded Wiis like this on my website, but I will sell you pre-modded N64s, GameCubes, and Game Boys, retroremaster.com. But that's about it for me. So like, subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next one. Later, guys. I meant to have the Wii gameplay playing in the background the entire time, but instead I forgot to change out the pictures from the last video I recorded just 10 minutes ago. And I thought I was a genius for writing and recording 2 scripts in the same day. What a buffoon.